click here to order. And they click there to order, and that is where you lose 90% of the orders that you're going to get. Now, let's see if I can prove that. You're on an airplane, and you've had to wait 2.5 hours for takeoff, and you've read the airline's magazine, and now you pick up the Sky Mall magazine. You tell me how many people have done this. You go through this, and there's stuff that you got to have. Here's a watch that tells you what time it is in 3 time zones, when your girlfriend's ovulating and she's going to be horny. I mean, there's great pictures of stuff you got to buy in here, right? And you tear these sheets out, and you take them home. Say you're on your way to a hotel room, and you're going to buy them. Or sometimes, I take the whole damn magazine with me. And I get back to the hotel, and you land at the airport. You fight your way through the crowds. You pick up your luggage. You get to the rent-a-car place. You fill out 37,000 questions. You try to find your hotel after driving 2.5 hours. It's a quarter mile from the airport, and you find it. You get into the hotel, and you check in, and you're a non-smoker, and they put you in a smoker's room. And they say, "We're sorry, sir or madam. If you'll just wait, we've got a non-smoker's room, but it's not made up yet." And so you go back down to the lobby, and you watch CNN vomit up the same news every 15 minutes, And I don't even know why they do the news anymore. It's all the same. They just ought to say clone it. And then they tell you that your room is ready. And you go back upstairs, but you put your magnetic key in, but it doesn't work, because they forgot to change the key. So you lug all your baggage back down to the desk, and you give it to them, and they go, and they give you a key that works, and you go take all your luggage back upstairs, and you put the key in, the door opens, and you go in. And being the anal compulsive person that you are, you hang up all your clothes, and you arrange your utensils just right. And you call your spouse, and say, "Honey, I'm here." And she asks you, "How was the flight?" And since the flight was only 13 hours extra, you tell her, "Oh, it was just routine." "What's new at home?" And she tells you, "Well, the water heater busted, and the water's rising in the basement. It's about 1 foot from the living room floor. The plumber's on his way over. He says it's going to be $175 an hour, because he usually doesn't work after 1 o'clock," and tells you this litany thing. "And by the way, that inventory report your boss wanted you to have at noon? He wants it at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning." And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so you don't get any sleep that night, and you're working on the inventory report. And these things keep happening, and you don't order from these things. And how many of you have carried this magazine or pages from it home with stuff that you thought was just the neatest thing since sliced bread, and eventually just crumpled it away, threw it away, because you knew you're never going to have time to buy it? Has anybody done that? Let me see your hands here. Okay, well, let me tell you something. First of all, the shelf life of a buying urge is very short. And the shelf life between actually buying something that you're sold on and until life interferes with you is almost no time whatsoever. Have you ever noticed in conversations you get in meetings today, and 4 of you get together for a great meeting, the guy says, "Well, I got to take that call," and he pulls out his cell phone. And since he's talking on the phone, he says, "Well, I may as well make a cell phone too." And then he makes a cell phone call. You got 4 guys sitting at the table, all of them talking on the cell phone, and nobody's doing nothing. Life interferes constantly. So, I'll tell you something that just test it, and I'm going to tell you. Claude Hopkins, back in the 1920s, did a test. And he was introducing a free product. And you could get it, he advertised it in New York City in millions of pages of newspapers. And he said, "It's easy to get a free sample of this product. Just write your name and address on a piece of paper and send it to us in an envelope, and we'll send it right out to you." Second sell, "It's easy to get a sample of this product. Just write your name and address. Or just call such and such a number, give us your name and address, and we'll send it to you." Or it's easy to get your free sample. You can just write your name and address and send it to us, or if you prefer, you can call. She gave them both options. The call-only option outpulled the other options by 3-1. Now, I've tested that recently a dozen times, and the call-only option always outpulls everything else. And you should never allow your people to order any way whatsoever except by making a telephone call. Now, let me tell you something about online ordering. I have a friend named Scott Haynes, who's a pretty good copywriter, by the way. And there was a piece of software he wanted recently. It was $149.50. And I told the story about how he tried to order it 6 times. And you know, computers are unforgiving. If you put a hyphen out of place or put a comma instead of a period, bang, bong, there's an error message and it doesn't go through. And he said, I wish you would have talked to me before you wrote about that in the letter. He said, you know why? And I said, no. He said, because I tried over 40 times with 6 different credit cards to order that. And believe it or not, I'm going to tell you a big secret. People still don't like giving out their credit cards over the internet. Enough of them do it for you to make a profit doing business the way that you're doing it. But you need to understand that really often the good is the enemy of the great. And I believe you should offer a phone-only option. And I believe that you should only allow the people to order by Visa or MasterCard.